Do I need to still be muted?
Hi everybody. I guess we're just going to start and go over everything today, and hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties that fuck anything up and reveal anything too early, because I'm sort of prone to doing that. Nick's here.
Hello!
You probably heard him earlier when he was like, should I unmute?
The answer was no to that question.
Alright, so, today we're going to be doing two things. Nick and I just spent the last, I would say, hour and a half, just kind of doing the schedule and like trying to balance it. And at the end, it got pretty fucking hectic, but I think we did pretty well given the circumstances.
We really had to gamer the hell out of it.
We gamed the shit out of it. Or gamered the shit out of it. If I say we gamed the shit out of it, it sounds like we cheated.
That makes it sound like we cheated.
We didn't game the shit out of it, but we definitely were gamers. Hi everybody. Does it keep freezing on you? Is that a me thing or is that a you thing? It might be a you thing. Is it good for everybody else? I think it's because I was... Yeah, I think it's... I don't think that's an us thing.
We're losing viewers by the second. We had 15, now we have 12. Whoever left, you're dead to me.
It says 9 on my dashboard. I think it's just kind of fucked up.
That's probably right.
But currently I have... It says it's recording. I hope it is actually recording. On my OBS, so if it doesn't save a VOD on Twitch, I should be able to at least have it saved on my computer, and then I can upload it to YouTube or something like that. I guess I should start a YouTube channel.
Easy. Yeah, we probably want to make one for the league in general.
Yeah, so because the VODs are still temporary if they get saved, so we can upload them to YouTube.
Yeah.
And maybe we can get
Anyway.
Oh yeah, let's start. Let's begin this. So
Fucking start it.
first we're gonna just kind of go over the draft a little bit. Say hi to yourselves, guys. Yeah, we did five rounds 2 days ago, and then we finished it this morning, or this morning.
Yes, this morning. We got the majority of it done yesterday, and a few holdouts who needed sleep, understandably, got theirs finished this morning, so we are good to go. And a few people have already traded out some of their original drafts for stuff that was in the leftover bank. So that was interesting. Sorry for any confusion about the ban list. Again, that's on me. I should have been a little more succinct with that. But at this point, we should have a pretty good look at what people will be using for the season. So,
Yeah,
I think we just take a look at the first few rounds that we narrated anyway when it was happening, and like kind of pick out each of our like what we think is the most interesting or the strongest pick for that round, and then as we kind of get into the later ones, we can be a little bit more detailed since we weren't narrating those when they happened.
I think the most surprising one, I think the most interesting one is Toxapex. We sort of talked at length about Toxapex. I think it's just like a really cool Pokemon, especially to pick number one to base like maybe your team around.
Toxapex is a great starting pick because it's very good defensive foundation. There's not a lot that doesn't benefit from Toxapex being on the team. I've said it before several times at this point, but Landorus Therian is honestly such a smart round one pick because it can fulfill a defensive role, it can be an offensive role, it can be a hazard lead, it can really do so many different jobs that picking it instantly, just round one, kind of big brain move, to be honest. If there's one Pokemon on anyone's team that I would trade for, it would probably be Landorus Therian. It's a really great pick.
What do you think about Mimikyu going first round? I think that's one that's probably the most surprising in this first round.
Yeah, I would say Mimikyu is a great competitive Pokemon. I think it's a little more niche depending on what your team is. If you need a setup sweeper or something that can take like one hit and revenge kill, it's a good pick. I don't know if I would necessarily have chosen it first or based the team on it. But definitely if you can build your team correctly around it, it's certainly a very good weapon to have.
And of course, I think so. I've been sort of thinking more about some of the picks that were normal, like the normal forms of Pokemon instead of the mega forms of Pokemon, like Garchomp, for example. And I think like at first I was a little confused by it, and then the more I think about it, the more I sort of understand the strategy of this Pokemon's pretty strong on its own, and you have one mega Pokemon you can pick. So you can either pick the mega form of this Pokemon, or you can pick the normal form that's strong as it is, and then go for the mega form of some other Pokemon. And I think Wild, for example, thought that would be a better strategy to go by.
Yeah, definitely. I think that makes a lot of sense. Most of the mega Pokemon are pretty heavy hitters in their own right, so assuming you can get one down the line, which if all 18 of our competitors can only choose one, you're pretty much guaranteed at least a mega. Picking something that's a little more common stat-wise, but like stands out among non-megas, smart first choice, definitely.
All right, so I think it's a good sort of summation of the first rounds. We have a bit to go here, so let's I guess go through them and see. I think it's us too. I think the Rotom Wash, Rotom Heat 1-2 was really interesting.
Rotom's just a neat Pokemon in general. It always finds a niche in like competitive formats, just because Levitate is so good for an electric type to have, and then it gets like Volt Switch and that like versatility on its moves based on what type it is. My personal, not favorite pick, but like the pick I find most interesting for this round, I think would be CJ picking Excadrill, because that's when it kind of confirms that he's moving towards a sand team. Because he picks Tyranitar round one, which yes, it sets up sand naturally, but it's also just a good strong Pokemon on its own, like you were talking about with Wild picking Garchomp. But once you pair Excadrill off with Tyranitar, it's like basically you've got the main parts of a sand team that you need already. So. I think that's where one of the bigger teams that's on our roster is starting to form once he did that. So
Another thing I see here is Terra picking Zeraora, which is obvious, which as we know, maybe some other people don't know who are watching, one of the fastest Pokemon. And
oh yeah,
I was just thinking to late rounds where I think I remember Terra bringing up that he planned to pick Regieleki, or like was thinking about it, and I'm just like thinking of, wow, like those are like 1, 2 like fastest Pokemon in the entire game. So if he was able to nab both of them, I think that would have
yeah.
been a very interesting team. So he
I think they're
didn't,
very
but
similar. Yeah, I think they're very similar Pokemon. I don't know if I would personally pick both of them. I think Zeraora definitely outclasses Regieleki on a lot of fronts, just because it's not as fast, but Regieleki is not very physically, like it's not very offensively strong. It's great for getting in revenge kills or quick hits for chip damage, but it's much better for status moves that you want to get on the board quickly. Zeraora, on the other hand, hits like a truck, and I believe it gets like actual setup moves and whatnot that can keep it, you know, snowballing into something stronger throughout the fight.
I also want to shout out Splotch in her pick for EA of Mega Mawile, who with that ability it has. I mean, like the stats it has on its own, they're good, but like as a Mega, it's kind of low. But it's that ability that makes it hit. What is it? 2 times for physical
Yeah,
attacks.
it doubles its physical attack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's absolutely crazy. So like I think that's a good Pokemon to build around. I think for EA, especially since he kind of went for a lot of the smaller Pokemon later when he started taking the reins. I think Mega Mawile is going to be the one that really carries that team.
Yeah, I gotta hard agree with that. Mega Mawile's really scary in how strong it is, especially when it uses priority moves combined with that massive physical attack.
All right, let's go down to round three. See if there's anything that catches our eye here. There's another one of those those Pokemon that got their normal forms instead of their Mega forms. I think yeah, it's because Ripped drafted Mega Garchomp, so she went with Sceptile. I think it's pretty solid. We see the Mega Charizard X get drafted pretty soon after the Mega Charizard Y. The normal Salamence and the Melmetal, which is a Pokemon that I don't know much about because it's not really a main series Pokemon. So it's interesting. I'll be excited to see that one in battle when we start battling.
Yeah, Melmetal has it's a much more recent Pokemon, but in the short history that it's been around, it's been very strong and like the overused tier for Smogon. It's seen, I think, suspect tests for being banned to Ubers, but it's not quite that strong. It's double smash or whatever its crazy unique move is can hit like incredibly hard, but Melmetal is definitely very strong, so there's a lot of counterplay to it. But I'll be interested to see how it works, especially on a sand team where it gets a little bit of extra special defense thanks to ideally all the sand that should be running around.
And we also have Reno's pick of Hawlucha, which is, I think, a very underappreciated Pokemon.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
like fighting flying, great typing. I have a fighting flying type Pokemon that I drafted later. But Unburden's an amazing ability that speeds it up when it loses its item. Or if it doesn't have an item. I don't know if that's.
Unburden activates when it loses or uses its item, and it won't activate again if you switch it back out after that. So if it comes onto the field without an item, it's not going to work. But the moment it uses or loses it, that's it's double speed until it leaves the battlefield, which is really scary on a Pokemon like Hawlucha that already has massive physical attack, and I think is the fastest Unburden user that there is. Something we might have overlooked with Sceptile before. Sceptile also gets Unburden. So while it's not necessarily as fast or strong as Hawlucha, it definitely can be scary with that double speed if you don't look out for it. Definitely do not underestimate Hawlucha if you're going up against Reno. It's got some massive firepower that it can pack if you don't stop it quickly.
And it can set up easily with that sword stance. It can taunt you as well. Just
Very easily, yeah.
has close combat. Like that'll probably hit pretty fucking hard after a swords dance or two. So definitely don't underestimate this Pokemon because it's a silly uh, wrestler bird.
Because it's a silly wrestler bird. Yeah. It's a scary, silly wrestler bird.
um, Other things on here. There's a lot of Pokemon here that I don't really have much history with, which doesn't mean they're bad or anything. It's just I've been out of the game for a while. So there's Pokemon like DNC, Stakataka, and Celesteela. I've seen a lot of people consider that one of the best of the Ultra Beasts.
Yeah, Celesteela's got a lot of versatility. I think, like I said, when it first got drafted, it's got some similar utility like Ferrothorn, where it can use Leech Seed, and it's just very bulky in general. Um, it's got plenty of different sets besides defense as well, so you can do a lot with Celesteela. Personally, I think a lot of the Mega choices for this round were very interesting. Mega Charizard X is a favorite of mine from the past. It's a great setup mon. Solid dragon type. As long as you can keep it away from stealth rocks before it can go into its mega form, you're pretty much good to go with that thing. You picked Mega Latias this turn, which very very neat choice. I like the idea of the slightly bulkier mega form that can set up. Um, that's definitely a very big boon. Mega Absol, I have like less experience with, but Magic Bounce is a really solid ability, especially on one of your aces that you're going to be bringing on your team. And then Maggie drafted Mega Scizor, which I think might be one of the strongest Mega picks just in this format. Mega Scizor can really absolutely break its way through a team, especially with a Swords Dance. It's dual stab with Bug Steel. There's very little that it can't hit through because fire types tend to be less bulky and more offensive. So, a lot of great picks this round.
Definitely, I like Zapdos too. Zapdos is one of the better electric type Pokemon out there, and especially when I looked at the end of the draft, like I feel like there were a lot of people who needed electric type Pokemon. Like this was one of the better ones there, and it's interesting to see on a rain team. Sleepy might use Thunder. I'm pretty sure Thunder is boosted with
100% accuracy under rain, which is very scary. Yeah, I think we've all mentioned it quite a bit, but Sleepy's team is pretty spooky, just in general, how he kind of captured an entire rain team that you would expect to see in an overused format without really missing a beat. Zapdos, yeah, like just got mentioned in the Discord, gets Hurricane too, I think. So that's another very strong move that it's stab for it and is 100% accurate under rain.
And it's just in general, like it's a good Pokemon to throw out there if the other team tries to take advantage of the rain with a water type.
Exactly.
So it's just like there to be like, no, this is my rain, fuck you. So that's probably currently that's the Pokemon on Sleepy's team that I think I'm the most scared of. That's Zapdos, if he uses it really well, which I think he will. That will be a pain in the ass. Let's move on to round 4 and round 5. Let's look around here a little bit more. We start to see a lot more Pokemon with that I think people just have a big attachment to. I know Tree really loves Tropius. But we see a lot of interesting picks. Gliscor. I don't know if he's going to be using the Toxic Orb strat. I don't know if that's still the meta. That was the meta when I was playing.
It's definitely still viable for Gliscor to use, although giving Gliscor just like a bunch of attacking moves and setup ability is also certainly viable. Gliscor is just kind of pretty useful in a lot of different senses. I wouldn't say it's amazing at any one job, but it definitely can do a lot of jobs. So
you see the Rapid Strike Urshifu, which is one of the Pokemon that we were asked in DMs if it was banned or not. So we'll see if we get absolutely punished by this thing.
Almost certainly, but it'll be funny. So
yeah, we'll see if it enters the ban discussion next season. Thundurus Incarnate. I mean, it's fucking Thundurus. Jirachi's a Pokemon that's big in the meta, and it's fucking adorable. And I would love to have drafted it, but I have 27 Steel types, so I'm gonna have to say no.
Jirachi is great. It's got pretty solid defensive typing, and it can really round out a team pretty well because it can wish pass, it can use flinch tactics if you give it like a King's Rock or something. It's just a great utility to have as part of your team.
It can also be used as a U-turner, so that's great.
True.
What else is in here that's interesting? Leafeon got drafted up here. We have Gyarados, who I don't think... Was Gyarados this round? No, it's next round.
Gyarados is next round, yeah.
Alright, yeah, I was looking at the wrong thing.
Just kind of like phase into next round. We don't need to spend too much time per round, I don't think.
This is where we get EA's drafts, his personal drafts started.
Yeah, this is where EA shows up and drafts air.
Completely breaking into the scene. Keldeo, obviously I was pretty distraught by not being able to get Keldeo.
You were absolutely destroyed. But Keldeo is very good. It can run special... well, I mean, usually it runs physical defense, but it gets the move, I think, either Sacred Sword or Secret Sword. They're poorly named because they're similar. But it attacks through special defense. It affects the opponent's special defense rather than physical defense, which is really good for trying to bust through a number of different defensive walls. Keldeo is great at not being a mixed attacker so much as not caring about traditional like physically defensive Pokemon, which is a really good boon for it. Not to mention water fighting, good types.
We have a Pokemon that I know for a fact got swapped out, which Tangrowth is now a free agent if anyone's interested. It got swapped out for Delmise, I think. I think that's the one that got swapped out for that,
yeah.
Which is like it's an interesting typing, Ghost Grass. It's used mainly as a rapid spinner, and I think a defogger as well. I'm not entirely sure. I know it's a rapid spinner, but it's one of those Pokemon that will help.
Yeah, I think as like we get towards the end here, more ghost types get drafted, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Grabbing some ghost types to just kind of round out a team. I know I was looking for one, and I didn't find any that I particularly felt comfortable with. So,
and another big pick from Sleepy is Azumarill. That's a solid Pokemon that he picked up there. Azumarill, people I don't think realize how good it is until
Azumarill is another one of those huge power Pokemon. It has double the physical attack that you give it. So, not only that, but it gets moves like Aqua Jet, which is priority, and it's going to come under the effect of huge power. And if you're in the rain, it's going to be powered up by the rain, which means it's going to be pretty fucking huge. Yeah, and like just got mentioned in the Discord, it does have Belly Drum. It gets access to Sap Sipper, so if you wanted to essentially fake somebody out and make them think you were going full offense when really you're covering for like a grass weakness, it can really fill that role too. Azumarill is very scary.
Yeah, it's cute as shit. Yeah, like it has that dragon. Ever since XY, it became a fairy type, so it has that dragon resistance and also can use Play Rough, which is just another thing that you need. Yeah. It's a great Pokemon, so that's another one of those ones that I really like. Togekiss is another fairy type Pokemon that went during this this round, and Togekiss has always been seen as a pretty useful Pokemon, a good nasty plotter.
Togekiss is solid. Yeah, you can do some special attack setup with it and really run through an unprepared team. It's got decent special defense, so if you wanted to use it as like a defensive pivot, it can do that as well. It gets recovery moves, so it can kind of stay in the fight for a pretty long time. I'm pretty sure it can spread a decent amount of status. So
yeah, it just has a good variety. It has a good move pool. It has Aura Sphere, and yeah, like you said, recovery moves, Roost. That's useful for a Pokemon like Togekiss.
Yeah, not to mention obviously like Air Slash, Dazzling Gleam. Like you can really fit it to what you need it to fight on the enemy team, just in general. So.
Now, Alola Ninetales, obviously, I was planning on maybe drafting it in later rounds. I was originally going to draft it in earlier rounds. Alola Ninetales is a fun Pokemon. This is a Pokemon that I think it's pretty fitting that Tree has a Pokemon that can break up a rain team with an automatic weather condition. Alola Ninetales has that snow warning, I think it is, where it can automatically start some hail, and in hail it can use Aurora Veil to cut damage done to its team by 0.25, I believe.
I think it's by half, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I believe Aurora Veil has the same effect as both Light Screen and
Oh
Reflect,
yeah, you're
but at
right.
the same time. The caveat being it can only be used under the condition of Hail, so most Pokemon can't really use it effectively in competitive setting. Alola Ninetales, however, summons Hail anytime it comes in, so it's a very effective user of Aurora Veil, which can be pretty scary for allowing one of your other Pokemon to set up quickly.
And it can
It also
use
gets
it can it can have either Light Clay to extend the Aurora Veil, or it can have Focus Sash because it's
a guarantee that you get it up. Yeah.
yeah its defense is not that fantastic. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it is really fast though. It's a lot faster than you would think, so it's pretty solid at getting that up before an opponent can really do anything. It also gets access to a lot of support moves like Encore, which is great for a lead. If you have an opponent that comes in and let's say sets up Stealth Rock and has Focus Sash, like a basic suicide lead, you could easily Encore them into Stealth Rock and then allow yourself to get off Aurora Veil and then whatever you need to switch into and then start setting up on them without letting them like hit you back. It's got a lot of good tech that it can use to support any team.
And I mean, Aegislash went in this round as well. That's a Pokemon that I think fell more than you would expect it to. For a while there, it was banned. It was in Ubers.
Yeah, Aegislash was originally banned to Ubers, but I don't know if it was this generation or last generation. But its stats got nerfed by 10 each, depending on what form it's in. And King Shield, its signature move, which is just protect, but if a physical contact move hits it, it lowers the attacker's physical attack. Originally, that was 2 stages, but now it only lowers it 1 stage. So it's still very good. It's got a lot of uses, but it's not like absolutely going to demolish like it might have used to.
We have Mount taken Necrozma, which is, I believe, a pretty decent legendary, right?
Yeah, not bad at all. Necrozma is decently fast and has a very high special attack for its psychic moves. It gets the unique move Photon Geyser, which is just a very solid psychic type move that it can dish out. I think it gets Prism Armor or something like that, which reduces super effective attacks against it. So definitely a solid special attacker to add to your team.
Sure enough, Sleepy picks Pelipper, which is a fantastic rain Pokemon. I think
Yeah, a premier rain setter, to be honest.
this is also a monumental round. Is I think the first round that Wild picked a non-Sinnoh Pokemon
That's true.
in Crustle. We see Reno pick Shaman's normal form, which is it's one of those 100 all around mythical Pokemon that are
Yeah,
pretty
can fit a lot of
useful.
different things.
Yeah.
And Shaman gets a lot of the natural like grass type tech that you'd expect. I think it gets Leech Seed, stuff like that. So you can make a pretty decent like wall out of it. I think Wild's choice in Crustle is very funny. Crustle has a lot of like defensive capability, but I believe it also gets Shell Smash, which is one of the most scary like setup moves in the game, where you essentially sacrifice like a level of both of your defenses to gain +1 attack, +1 special attack, and +1 speed. So if you have a Pokemon that's able to do that a couple times, you can really easily get swept by something like that. Crustle isn't like one of the strongest users of that, but it's definitely bulky enough to probably get away with it if you're not careful.
It can also be used as a entry hazard Pokemon if Wild would
True.
like that, with access to both Spikes and Stealth Rock. It's a decent Pokemon. Let's look into round 7. Um, we're starting to see, like, I think Crobat's a pretty interesting late flying type to nab at this point in time.
Crobat's more solid than you would think, despite being like the evolution of one of the funny garbage Pokemon that you see in the game. Crobat's really fast and very solidly strong. It gets a decent amount of fun fact. Crobat and I are the same height. I, you know what? Pokemon heights are weird according to in-game Pokedex, so probably that's true now that you say it like that. But Crobat does get a very, very solid like stab, high attack, like physical attack moves. Yeah, it's not anything to sneeze at.
It could be it could be a rooster. It could use roost. One who
It is
roosts.
a male chicken.
And also it has access to Brave Bird, which you wouldn't really expect from a whole ass bat, but
Yeah.
that's always dangerous. I like Virizion here as well. I mean, I think fighting types were getting lapped up pretty quickly, so getting a Virizion who, I mean, has access to Swords Dance, things like close combat, but also can do healing moves like Synthesis. And if you, no, she did. She got the other Ninetales. I was gonna say like maybe you can get it to Solar Beam, which would be pretty. You can still get to Solar Beam. It has access to Justified though.
Yeah. Yeah, all the Three Musketeers, weird like horse Pokemon. Terrakion got drafted this round too. Solid choice for the first Sand team, I would say. I was thinking about drafting Terrakion, and I eventually settled on something else, which we'll probably get to later. I think the only one that didn't get drafted out of that like four set was Cabalion, which is a little surprising to be honest. 'Cause Cabalion's steel fighting, so it's pretty solid.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess not. I thought maybe I saw it in the later rounds, but maybe I'm talking out of my ass.
I
Maybe we'll see.
I just missed it.
Yeah.
I drafted Slowking this round, and I just want to say to Becca, stop taking my Pokemon that I want. You took Slowbro, and that's why I had to take Slowking, because I wanted Slowbro, and Slowking's just the same, but with worse physical defense. So thank you for that. Hit me up to trade. Take my Slowking. I'll take the Slowbro. Easy. This doesn't have to be war.
I like Regidrago as well at the very end there. I don't know much about it, but I think it's really I find the new legendaries and like the Crown Tundra Pokemon really interesting because they're still sort of being discussed and worked. I think that's really it's a fun time to be a Regidrago user and trying to find like ways to influence it and get the best out of it. Its fucking HP stat is incredible too.
Yeah, it's got solid physical attack, I believe, and then I think its ability improves the damage of Dragon type moves, which is pretty neat. Because that's not a bad Dragon type to have at all. If its job is literally just to dish out heavy hitting Dragon type moves, so
Yeah, it can hit you with attack and special attack. They're both 100, so you don't know what to expect from it in terms of physical or special. We see Komo in round 8. I like Komo a lot. This is a point in time where like I think a lot of people had drafted dragons, so it kind of fell to this point where it probably could have been used a little earlier. But it has access to things like bulletproof and soundproof, which
yeah.
bulletproof it makes it immune to like shadow ball, just like projectile attacks, while soundproof makes it immune to sound based moves.
Yeah, those are some pretty interesting like niche abilities that like a lot of the times you'll forget about, and then you'll accidentally walk yourself into a bad spot by using a move it's immune to without realizing it. I know I've done that more than once playing against a Komoa in competitive, so it's got some interesting tech. It's also, I think like we were saying earlier, fighting types became a little more rare as well as we got on with the draft, so drafting a dragon fighting type this late, pretty solid for coverage.
You drafted Tornadus Therian, which is pretty good for this point in the draft. You see CJ continuing the ground type theme with the Steelix. I think that's a solid pick at this point.
Yeah.
Drapion has that sniper ability, which makes it when it critical
Boost the
hits,
damage of crits.
yeah, it fucks you if it gets a crit. So that's something to stay away from. Yeah, that seems to be all the good stuff from there.
Interesting late game Mega Draft as well from Reno. Mega Pinsir is actually very strong. It's a little slow, but it can hit like an absolute truck. So I'd watch out for that as well.
Round 9, we see the Regieleki get taken by Kura. Talonflame from Wild. It's decent. I think I don't want to give away a Pokemon that might be a little better in that position. Talonflame's great. Crocodile, I really like Crocodile. I was thinking about taking Crocodile, but then I was like, yeah, I'm going to go all in on Weavile round 10, and I got cucked.
I was personally thinking about, because I still needed something that had an immunity to electric, because there's so many good electric types running So I was looking at like Volt Absorb Pokemon and different ground types, and so many of the good ground types have been taken. CJ. Um, but Crocodile fills out a lot of different roles. It can set hazards. It can intimidate. It's a ground type. So it just it was good to round out my team, especially this late in the game. So that's why I picked it. Talonflame, I would say, in terms of wild, it does get Gale Wings, which is a very strong ability. It did get nerfed, unfortunately, after its premiere generation when Talonflame came out, because Talonflame was too good. But Gale Wings gives all flying type moves that come from the Pokemon priority, which is solid when you're using crazy moves like Brave Bird and whatnot to really dish out damage. However, after Talonflame's nerf, Gale Wings only works when Talonflame is at 100% HP, so usually you're only going to get that off turn 1. Maybe like later turns if you can scare something out or get a KO pretty quickly.
All right, and we're going down to the final round. Let's take a look at that. Well, I could talk on Nidoking a little bit. I actually like before because I said I was gonna maybe go for Weavile, which I think is a solid dark type that even though it has really bad bulk, it has really good speed and a pretty good move
Really
pool.
good physical attack. No, I
Yeah.
definitely agree with Weavile. It's a total threat, especially against some of the stronger Pokemon in the format like Garchomp or Salamence, who take 4 times damage from its Stab Ice type moves.
Yeah, but I hadn't had a poison type yet, so I was like, I haven't had a poison type, I hadn't had a ground type, and like Crocodile is a dark type, so if I want to get Weavile, let's expand that a little bit more. And Nidoking has a very fantastic move pool. Like it can learn things from so many random moves from so many different types, so you never really know what to expect from it, and I can use it to sort of leverage myself against teams that might have a pretty strong Pokemon that I can maybe get a super effective hit off of.
Yeah, it's got a lot of coverage options. It's a great user of like the expert belt item, for example. Um, yeah, I definitely agree. Nidoking's a strong late round choice.
Are there anything? Is there any Pokemon in round 10 that you think is like a big steal or like a big Pokemon that stands out?
Yes, Rabombi, my choice. Rabombi is going to kill all of your teams, and you don't even know why. Like, that's the best part, you fools. This tiny fairy bug is going to kick so much ass, and it's going to be very funny. But on a more serious note, I would say Shuckle is a surprisingly good choice from EA. Shuckle's got a lot of different hazards it can throw out, and can throw out a lot of different status, and it's really bulky for no good reason. I think that, like the only thing that can reasonably hit it are water types, and you don't think of that immediately when it comes out. Frostlass is a very neat choice. I was thinking about different ghost types coming later into round 9, round 10. I didn't end up drafting one, but I forgot Frostlass existed, and honestly, really good ghost type to just have. It's like it neutralizes the fighting type weakness on the ice type half because ghost type. And it gets a decent speed tier and some good support moves.
We see Ludicolo
Yeah,
as well, who
yeah.
is a big rain Pokemon. So is Politoed. Neither of which going to Sleepy at this point. Sleepy ended up picking Vileplume, which I suppose is just to get some good coverage on that team.
Yeah.
I know he loves Vileplume, so that makes sense. Zoroark for me, it's a fun Pokemon. At this point, it's like I need a Dark type, and I'm gonna pick a fun one to see if I can mess around with people and maybe get a few.
Yeah, I think Zoroark is neat because no matter what fight you go into during this season, your opponent always has to consider, okay, now is this Zoroark that I'm about to hit or not? So that's very interesting mind games you can play. And obviously, like with Showdown, it has like team preview like the normal games do. So they'll know if Zoroark's on your team for the fight they're going into or not. But they won't know which one it is. So Zoroark is very fun and like what kind of trickery you can perform.
Yeah, and there's one Pokemon in the previous round that I didn't mention that I think needs a little bit of a shout out, which is Volcanion, which is that fire water typing. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting, cool Pokemon to have. And to work with. It has water absorb, so like if you're like trying to if you look at it and you're like, oh, it's a fire type, I'm going to shoot it with water, then you're
Not
fucked.
gonna work. I
It's
think it
not
also
going to
gets
work.
yeah. Yeah, water absorb on that thing is nuts. Yeah, it can I don't know if I would say it's necessarily like offensively a huge thing to worry about because it's kind of it's very slow despite having like really good like special attack. But yeah, being able to switch into water type attacks pretty freely, and then like spit out whatever the hell it wants. It's good. It's a good ability to have.
And there's that Galarian Wheezing, which I remember it being like everyone was talking about how, oh man, I can fix Regigigas in doubles, or just in general. I haven't seen much of it since then. I'm curious to see how Mount will use it, and I, I don't I don't know much about it, so it'll be fun to see it
Yeah,
in battle.
its signature ability, neutralizing gas, removes all Pokemon's abilities. It just neutralizes all abilities when it's on the field. So it's very funny like that. Um,
It's
yeah,
just a
I mean
good late pick.
yeah, it's Weezing with Fairy Poison type, and Fairy Poison type just good defensive typing. Like you can't get around that.
Funny capitalism, man. Everyone's just a funny blank man.
And as a top hat, that's also a smokestack. Like that's such a great design choice. Like Sword and Shield can get a lot of flack, but that's a good Pokemon right there with its funny mustache.
All right, I think that's it for draft analysis. Overall, I think we have some pretty balanced and fun teams. I'm excited to see all of these in action. Hopefully, we can get the website to have all the teams up and visible. I've been kind of going through the sheet. I don't know how much I'll update the sheet because we do have the website and it takes a while. I do have
Yeah.
the first few rosters. I have been adding like sprites, like 3D gifs of each of the Pokemon. So if you want to check that out, maybe someday yours will be like that too if I ever get to it.
Yeah, in terms of the website, guys, we just have one more person who needs to get their login information and logged in, and then once that happens, I can start the actual like league session, like this season, on the site, and then everybody will be able to add their Pokemon to their teams individually on the site. So expect to be able to do that tomorrow, but we do have the painstakingly crafted battle schedule ready to go. And by painstakingly crafted, I mean it's going to be a battle royale where everybody's just going to fight everyone else all at once. Last person standing wins.
Let's just get into it because I kind of already showed it a little bit. So here is your schedule for round one. Now these are we took pretty careful consideration into making sure that this is completely balanced, and we double and triple checked to make sure nobody's put in here twice. Obviously, if you find an error in this battle schedule, please tell us because we're only two people. But yeah, here's round one. I have a few matches that I wrote down because I thought they would be interesting. Yeah, we see Sleepy versus Eric. These are two pretty strong. I thought that Eric's draft was fantastic, and I thought that Sleepy's draft was fantastic. So now we have these two sort of locking, and that will be a really fun show to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, it's really great for all of us because we'll get to see how well good they are at using their teams and then plan later. So have fun, kill each other, do a good job.
Yeah, like I mean, like we've talked at length about Sleepy's team, but I mean, we can look through the draft and see some of the names that Eric had pulled out. Dragapult for one, which is fucking
Yeah.
dangerous as hell.
Eric's definitely got some scary Pokemon on his team. Dragapult was definitely one I was going to try and draft originally, and I think I ended up replacing that spot on my team with Latios because it kind of fulfills a similar thing. But Dragapult is blazingly fast and can release lots of different special attacks. Not to mention its dual typing of Dragon Ghost is both defensively amazing and offensively amazing. So it's very scary to go against. Looks like Eric also drafted Mega Latios, so a lot of fast firepower on that team. Diancie, another amazing special attacker with different stab that can like work with Dragapult really well. Thunderous Incarnate, Keldeo, Aegislash, Minior. There's a lot of good offensive like pressure on this team. The one thing I would say is that while all these Pokemon are very fast, Swift Swim is no joke when it comes to speed tiers. Like Sleepy has Kingdra, I think is its fastest mon. And under Rain, I think it outspeeds pretty much anything Eric can bring to the fight, even if they have like Choice Scarf. So a Draco Meteor off a Swift Swim boosted Kingdra is always going to KO Dragapult because Dragapult is not that bulky. Mega Latios is in a similar pool, although I think it does have some defenses that are better. But then you've also got like Diancie running around who can block dragon type moves. But unfortunately, Diancie's a rock type, so it's going to get hit pretty hard by water type moves. So it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic kind of plays out because there's a lot of offensive pressure on both sides. I think it'll come down to managing weather and how experienced both players are with the ability to like do that.
Another team or another battle that I think will be very interesting is Maggie versus Mount. I think we should look specifically to Maggie's Gengar, around one pick. I think that this Gengar can do a lot to neutralize a lot of Mount's threats. So that might be something that Mount would look to neutralize quickly. But Mount has a lot of cool Pokemon here. I mean, Lucario. She couldn't get Mega Lucario two picks away, but
I wonder why.
yeah, but Corviknight, that's a solid pick. Mega Absol, we talked about it and its amazing ability. I think these two trainers, these two competitors are, I think, pretty locked in terms of skill level and also like a pretty decent knowledge of like I can tell they've been researching a lot and making sure that their teams are as strong as possible. I know they'll both want to win greatly, so this is a fight that I think will be very interesting to see. And I'm curious to know who comes on top. Trying to look for other Pokemon maybe from this matchup to look at. Necrozma, that's a fantastic one.
What I would say about the difference between their teams, Mount's team, hers is a lot slower and bulkier. You see Pokemon like Corviknight, Reinigris, and like what was I thinking at? Dreadnought. Those Pokemon are decently strong, but they're very slow, and they usually rely on like their defenses to get off more powerful plays. Whereas on Maggie's team, you see Pokemon like Rillaboom and Gengar, stuff that is known for being very strong and fast, but maybe not as bulky. I will say Rillaboom having Grassy Surge to kind of boost Maggie's team with a little more defense, plus Maggie's team having like Scizor with priority moves. I would say offensively, I would give the advantage to her team. But there's a lot of tech that Mount's Pokemon can bring to the battle that might be tricky to deal with.
Yeah,
A lot of diversity in it.
Mount might definitely want to look into using that Delphox to try to neutralize that Rillaboom as quickly as possible.
And Scizor for that matter, yeah.
They've got those checks. Doesn't Maggie have Mega Scizor too?
Yeah, Mega Scizor.
Oh yeah. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, this is. I'm excited to see this. Maggie has Thunderous Tyrion as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like I said, a lot of fast offensive threats.
And another thing we might look forward to are two players that I think I'm thinking of doing like a power ranking thing. They're in they're in the rosters right now on the sheet. Just like maybe like week by week we do a power ranking, see like have everybody like rank everybody and see who they think is the strongest. We can talk about it though. But I think like if we were to do a power ranking, Bella and Tara would both be up there pretty high.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked at length about Tara's Toxapex. And yeah, like Becca. Have I been saying Bella?
No, I think you've been saying Becca.
All right, just making sure. Becca had drafted the Landorus Terrian first, which we love.
Yeah, Toxapex can usually get by walling most things, but its main the main thing that threatens it is probably going to be like serious ground types. I would say Landorus Therian is pretty much a perfect counter against Toxapex if you aren't careful about how you play it. Toxapex can use Scald, which is super effective, but usually not too much damage because it's defensively oriented. But getting a burn off of on like a Pokemon like Landorus can be pretty crucial. So it'll come down to a lot of gameplay rather than I think natural matchup, if that makes sense.
Sorry, Becca. Yeah, I think we'll see what the schedule holds. Maybe we'll have a grudge match. I forget, to be honest. Yeah, definitely. I think this is gonna be a head-to-head when it comes to experience and people who really know their stuff. This might be one of the headliners to watch.
Yeah, Yeah, I think I definitely am gonna want to see the replay. Not yeah. Speaking on that, we're playing on the Showdown battle simulator. There, you have the ability once you make an account and have your team on there and do your battles, you can save the replays and then you can post the links to the Discord here, and we'll probably have like a channel specifically for that so people can watch them. So I would highly recommend, doing that because it'll be very cool and interesting and neat and interesting.
What's the mega question?
What is the mega question?
Can you guys put it again? I don't know what that means. Waiting for this to be typed. Oh, it's like...
Oh no. We're gonna have them switch in as their normal forms and then change into megas to replicate how the Pokemon games work naturally as well as possible. Because there's not like a huge difference between the two, but we're trying to like at least function closer to how the games are intended to be played.
Alright, let's I guess we can continue down the line. After we reveal everything, we're gonna have obviously we're gonna open up the sheet again and we can have you guys look through it at any time.
I don't know if Wild is here in the stream right now, but I'm gonna crush your Luxray or whatever. That is all.
Your Luxray or whatever.
Luxray or whatever you decide on bringing.
Alright, here's round 2. Dun dun. So we have a Sleepy versus Mount up there, Wild versus Becca. Terra versus Nick, which will be, I think, fantastic. It's just another one of those. That'll be very fun. It's good because we had so we made this sheet by having 3 different classifications based on what you guys put in the demographic form, which was like beginner, intermediate, and expert. So when I see 2, we had put down as expert fights between 2 people that I know are pretty decent. That'll be fun.
We tried to give everyone an even mix of beginner, intermediate, expert based on like leaning a little towards whatever category they fell in as well, just to make it a little easier for everybody.
This is a league style.
Yeah, Kara. It's going to be league style. I've told you this. I know I've told you this on multiple occasions. You just don't listen to me. But we're going to play 10 rounds, and everybody's going to get the chance to not fight quite everybody, but most people in the league. And once we're done with 10 rounds, we'll take whoever has like the top cut. So like the top 9 players or whatever who have the best records from the first 10 rounds. We'll go into like a tournament style, elimination bracket.
Yeah, it's regular season and playoffs. It basically is it. To answer Tara's concerns, this is balanced, but it can be top heavy. We randomized pretty much entirely. We randomized who gets who, and then we like weighed it based on the classifications we gave everybody. It was really complicated, but we were able to push through it pretty well. We got a good system going on. So if it's top heavy right now, that just means that you're going to get a lot more easy, or quote unquote easy, like beginner fights later on.
Exactly.
Other things in here, me versus Tree, that'll be fun. Reno versus Maggie should be pretty close. I know Reno he has friends helping him out, so we shouldn't underestimate him for sure.
Wild gets like 3 really hard fights in a row just to start the season, and I think that's very funny and very unfortunate.
I'll go into round 3 so we can see that. Me versus Sleepy, that would be fantastic.
That'll be fun.
That'll be very fun.
Watching that, to be honest.
We've like years ago, like we've had moments where we just like would fight each other like 24 times in a row with like the same team. Like I would keep losing, and then I'd just like keep like rematching him, and then I would eventually win. I'd be like, haha, fuck you. it's always fun. So I'm excited to meet him again on the field of battle and
lifetime rivals.
Kill him. Yeah, I guess we'll move down here pretty quickly because we have 10 total rounds here before the playoffs.
Yeah.
So round 4, we'll see me versus Becca. This is the grudge match. So I'm gonna get my
Grudge
ass
match for me
kicked.
in a month.
Um,
um,
let's see down here. Tree versus Eric. I can see Tree pulling out what would maybe be considered an upset there. I think Tree
True.
will be underestimated, but like as Sleepy said, Tree can kick ass with a Vaporeon. Um,
Yeah, I would say Tree's team isn't necessarily the best competitive draft here, but the comfortability, like the familiarity with the Pokemon she drafted, I think will be like an unforeseen advantage in the long run.
all right, moving down to round 5, halfway point of the season. This one has I think my favorite matchup, and that is Sleepy versus Tree.
That will be very funny.
And we were really like Nick and I were because after that happens, Maggie's name came up, and then we were like rolling the randomizer, and we were like, it'd be really
That was
funny if
still
it
left on
was,
the
yeah,
yeah.
it would be really funny if it was Nick versus Maggie here, and like every time Maggie would get like a name to go up against her, it would be somebody she either already had on the schedule or like somebody who already had a battle. So it's like we had to keep rolling, and each time we were like, it has to be Nick at this point. It has to be Nick. Sadly, it wasn't Nick, but
Thankfully, it wasn't. Oh yeah, this is the one where it's us versus each other in round 5. That'll be fun.
oh yeah,
I'm looking forward to battling you.
this is
I think
great.
our teams yeah, I think our teams have a lot of similarities. So I think that'll be fun.
Round 5 will be fantastic, I think.
Yeah.
All
Round
right.
5 will be a good mid-season.
And then after that, we have round 6, where we see. I think Terra versus Sleepy will be fun. I'd like to see Ripped maybe challenge Eric. I think Ripped has a lot of potential, and the more she plays, the more she'll grow into the game and grow into her team. I like her team a lot, so I think like we'll
Oh
see her
yeah.
sort of snowball definitely and become one of the heavy hitters in this league.
By this point, like once we're in round 6 and people have a lot of experience under the belt, especially the people who got really good drafts and maybe don't have a lot of battling experience yet, I think we'll see a big shift in kind of the standings from compared to like what we're thinking about right now. I think a lot of people with really good drafts right now will be doing really well by this point, and be really comfortable with the Pokemon they picked.
And that's the same reason why you shouldn't rule out maybe Kura against Becca, because I know Kura had a really fantastic
Yeah,
draft.
he's got a lot of solid Pokemon. I think Becca's gonna kick his ass, and I'm gonna be rooting for Becca because I want to see him get his ass kicked. But
Let me
we'll find out when we get there.
adjust this real quick because I think yeah, there's one being hidden. So if somebody, here we go, Maggie versus Henderson. There we go. I'm going to have to. This is difficult because I have to adjust it, but also like I don't want to reveal the next line, so I'm gonna have to like do this really janky.
Oh,
Because
there's CJ versus Mount.
I can't scroll anymore because it's like being weird.
Oh yeah,
So there we go. Sleepy versus Becca.
we're gaming. We're gaming.
um, EA versus Nick. That could be
Good.
close.
That'll be a really close match.
Mount versus CJ, I think would be very close. Two what I would consider intermediate players with very interesting teams with a lot of interesting strategies that will probably be grown into the game at this point. I think that will be very close. Okay, rounds. This is so jank. Here, let me put the Discord actually behind this so it doesn't obscure it every single time. Ah, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, jeez. I can stream, guys. I'm streaming.
Oh fuck! Oh shit! Oh jeez, indeed.
And speaking of, all right, so I have an ounce of confidence in Ripped, but not in round 8. So I have to root against you for this one, Ripped. I'm sorry. But here's round 8. This is where I think this is after this. The trade deadline is done, and I'm pretty sure you can't. Maybe you can sign free agents after that. I'll have to look into the rules. It's either way. I'll
We'll have to review it by then, but we have plenty of time. That's 2 months away.
yeah. Wild
Yeah, a
versus
lot of
Tree.
interesting.
That'll be
Wild
fun.
versus Tree. I'm aiming for that. That'll be very cool and very neat.
Nick versus Kira.
I'm gonna kick his ass. Hey, I know he's listening. I'm gonna kick your ass, Pepsi Max.
Yeah, some good matches here. Maggie versus Sleepy. And then round 9. These ones, like, literally, like, at this point, because it got harder for us to, like, formulate, formulate, like, the matchups as it went on, because, like, we had to eliminate matchups the longer it went, so by the end here we were kind of scrambling. We were able to get it.
I would say we were gaming by this point.
We were gaming super hard.
We were just gaming.
We were just screaming like, "We're gaming! This is fine! We're gonna do this! We're gaming!"
We're gaming!
So here we go. CJ versus Reno. Mount versus Wild should be close.
I get to fight Eric this round. That'll be very interesting because it'll be like very late in the schedule when we're both comfortable with our teams. And I think Eric is one of the most threatening competitors.
Oh yeah, that'll be fantastic.
Are in our format, so I'm excited to play him, especially when we're both doing pretty well.
I'd like to see Ripped versus Haru as well. I think Haru drafted well as alongside Ripped, and
oh yeah, definitely.
I'd like to see them. This is like, these are the fun ones. It's down the, like, you need wins to advance to the postseason. You're comfortable with your team, and you're just trying to grind as much as you can. These are the games that mean a lot, so it's like these are gonna be great. So
yeah, these are either the games that are gonna mean like everything because it'll be down to the wire, or there'll be players who are just like already confirmed for playoffs and are just like doing interesting, funny things. So these will be like interesting games all around, I think.
This is also the rounds where EA invokes his rain Lotad strat and fucking sweeps Sleepy. So I can't wait for that. And finally, guys, round 10. This is for all of the marbles and the last one until the playoffs. If you don't have a playoff record by here, you're not gonna be able to be champion for the season. So here's round 10. Sleepy versus Ripped, me versus Mounts. I'm going to crush your dreams, hopefully, if all things go well. Maggie versus Tree, I think that'll be fantastic.
I need to fight Becca in round 10, and I think.
Yeah.
I know I said I'm excited to fight Eric, but I think I'm most excited to fight Becca because I think she dropped an even better team. So I'm very excited for that. Considering that we probably, I imagine both of us will get records to make playoffs by then, so I don't think it'll be super high pressure, but it'll still be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for the very late round games.
Harvey versus Henderson. We haven't talked about Henderson a lot, but I think like that could be a matchup for him going to round 10.
Henderson. He's not even watching the stream right now.
What a
he flipped me off.
What a nice man. Tara versus Eric as well. That's going to be a big one, I think. If one of them is not in a playoff position, that's going to be a big one to decide that. I think one of them at least is going to be in a playoff position, but maybe one of them won't be, and then will get knocked out in this game. So that's going to be a fierce battle with two people I think are very head to head, and it'll be great.
I think Maggie versus Tree will be very fun. I think they'll both have gotten a lot of experience by then, and I'm gonna help Maggie kick Ebbs' ass. That's my pledge. Maggie, stop panicking. We got this. You're gonna do really well. Also, Emma, stop rooting against me for no reason. Like, I'm gonna have fun fighting Becca, but like, stop rooting against me. Stop rooting against me.
Water cat.
It's Vape Cat. You all know it's called Vape Cat. Which is simultaneously cooler and worse.
Dank cat. Alright, friends. Well, those are all 10 rounds. So, like Nick said, it's going to be the top half of the whole shebang who go through to what we call the championship tournament. So, I'm pretty sure what we'll do is we'll have first place receive a bye, which will be huge, or something to that effect, because we will have an odd amount, so somebody's going to have to receive a bye.
We'll figure out what the tournament bracket will look like towards the end of the season. We might do like top 8 instead of top 9 to make it easier. We might do a bye.
We'll plug it into Shillong.
We got 10 rounds. We got 10 rounds to figure it out. It's fine.
Nothing bad can happen when you procrastinate.
Yeah, exactly.
Quote me. Put that on like a hot air balloon in front of a sunset picture.
Make
um,
it your team's motto. Nothing bad can happen when you procrastinate.
Dynamo.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm out there will be around this week.
we'll
I
hope so at
think,
least.
yeah, I think the idea is we will start like the 1 week period from today, tomorrow, and then
Do you want to do
people.
that? I guess we could. Yeah. Fuck.
I don't think there's any reason not
We
to,
have a
because
schedule.
yeah, everybody's active. We've got a schedule. Teams are drafted. We'll get the site up and running completely tomorrow, but you don't really need that to be able to schedule a time with your opponent. The sheet here will be available to everybody again once we're done with the stream. So you'll be able to message whoever your first opponent is. Uh, the idea is it's kind of like up to you and your opponent to figure out what time slot you want to do it. We will, I don't know, do you want to plan when you want to do Battle Night now, Jay, or do you want
So
to figure out when people are battling first and plan around that?
number one, like I've been kind of working on this league for like the last 3 hours, so I'd
Yep.
prefer if we do tomorrow at like 5 p.m. EST, something along that line, officially starting the round, just so I don't have to like worry about like getting games in and like figuring out how everyone, because I know for a fact like I see people right now like you guys are gonna start
Yeah.
like battling immediately, and I'm gonna have to worry about that. So let's take it easy for tonight. We'll I think at 5 p.m. EST tomorrow is a good time to officially start. And then yeah, that will be good. What was your question again? It slipped from my mind when I was making sure. Oh,
Well,
battle nights,
one, I
battle
think
nights.
Yeah, one, I think it doesn't super matter if we start like now or 5 p.m. tomorrow. Like, we can set the technical start time for 5 p.m. tomorrow, and then that's when the week like period starts. But if somebody wants to battle before that, and then the opponent agrees, I don't think it
Do we
matters
want
too
to?
much because we don't have to schedule that. You and me
Yeah, but do we want to
personally.
have it? Because like the website has something where you upload battle replays, right? Do we want to do something to that effect? I think we should figure that out
The
first.
website's not going to have a place to upload battle replays, but if we wanted to take showdown replays and upload them, like just put the link to them in the Discord, we can totally do that.
We
Um,
should definitely make sure to do that, but
yeah,
I still I still think that like if we start battling tonight, there might be some complications that we have to deal with, and I just want to make sure that
yeah.
maybe
I'm
we
gonna put
give
this
ourselves breathing room. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm gonna put the recommendation out to everyone. Put some thought into like what team you're gonna bring. You have 10 Pokemon. You can only bring six to the battle. So look at your opponent's team. Give yourself some prep time and figure out what you have that's strong against them. Cover for options, that sort of thing. I'm still at some point going to put out another crash course lesson. This one's going to be on like preparation for battle, and then at some point I'll probably do a type one on actually battling. I can't tell you when that's going to be because my class schedule is a little busier this week and probably next week. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for resources, Smogon is great. There's plenty of great YouTubers and like YouTube videos you can watch. Just stuff's out there. It's not too hard to get the research done and do the prep so that you can, really, really battle the shit out of people.
So like D&D people, do you guys have stuff on Saturday?
Maybe, question mark. At this point, there's nothing planned that I know of. Well, CJ has said yes,
I
so
have
I
stuff
don't
on Friday,
know.
so I'm trying to figure out like a good battle night. I have stuff on Friday. Um, so like Saturday would be good for me. I could probably do Sunday, but I like the idea of like a Saturday, like the weekend battle where there's not anything that people might have to do the next day. But either way, it works. Um,
Yeah.
we can if you guys have D&D on Saturday, we can and you want to do a like if you guys have D&D on Saturday, then we do Sunday. If you're interested in being part of the battle nights on either of those days, shoot me a DM so we can sort of get that um, situated. I kind of want to do battle nights. Have basically a standard time where like the day could be different, but like I would like to start them at like 7 p.m. EST when it's like the earliest time where like everybody like the most amount of people will be on probably, so that we can like have a few stacked where it won't go necessarily into like 1 a.m. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
definitely.
Um, but yeah, I also wanted to say that like we do have, if you haven't checked the rules, we do have, in a way, two champion titles in this league. I thought it'd be worth mentioning since we were talking about playoffs and stuff like that. The champion of the league, whose team will go into the Hall of Fame of the league, will be the one who wins in the playoffs. But we have a title called a League Elite, which is the person who finishes the regular season, so all 10 rounds, with the best record. And then, like, if there's a tie, we can do head to head. I can figure that out. There might already be stuff in there for all I know. But the League Elite will also have their team put into the Hall of Fame, and they're the people who did the best on regular season. So if you did really well in your rounds, then you can get that title and be in the Hall of Fame as well. And also, they're stackable titles. So, like, if you can do the double where you are the League Elite and you also go on and win the playoffs as well, so you're also the league champion. So you can have two, and it's really interesting, and we can put those in our history books. I really enjoy the history side of things like this, so anything like that. Like, I want to be able to be like, do you like, I'm 73 years old playing Pokemans, and I'll be like, do you remember in season 5 when Mount clinched the elite title and then went completely undefeated in the playoffs and blah, 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 and became the champion? I think it's cool. So I just wanted to
That's
bring that
a
up.
prophecy now, Mount. You do have to go completely undefeated throughout this entire season. Sorry, I don't make
I
the
said
rules.
season 4, I think, so you have 3 seasons to
Oh,
prepare.
you have 3 seasons to get really
Or
good.
4 seasons. Best of luck. Not 3 seasons. Yeah, so
Okay.
to recap, I think we're gonna officially start the week tomorrow at 5 p.m. EST, if everyone's fine with that. I think it's just gives me a little bit of breathing room, because maybe, like, I want to make sure that I have battle nights planned, so we don't have, like, all the people who might want to do battle nights just being really excited and getting through their battles immediately. So let's I'll be talking about that with people. Remember to DM me. So 5 p.m. tomorrow is when that starts. I'm planning to have battle nights maybe at Saturday, and if that doesn't work for a lot of people, then Sunday, and we can talk about that. So yeah, Thursday at 5 p.m. So that means that next Thursday, so August 5th at 5 p.m. will be the end of, like, the latest end of the round. So the 29th to the 5th. Any questions? Any concerns?
No questions or concerns allowed. Good. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Then I think we might be done here. I'm going to release the doc after the stream ends, so that you guys can all review your
He's
matchups
going to release
formally.
a doctor on you.
Yeah, so make sure you don't make sure you have apples, because if you don't have
Make sure you have
apples,
lots of apples.
no, yeah, because, like, he'll fucking scalpel you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to mess with this doctor. He's kind of a freak. He's kind of
Yeah.
an awful man.
I don't believe this man's ever been to medical school.
It's like the doctor from, like, the Pokemon anime that was like, I don't want to. I remember him being, like, completely, like, an asshole, and Ash was like, you're supposed to help people, and he was like, I'm a doctor. It'll be that guy, so be careful.
Be careful of the doctor. All right.
Have your apples. Yeah.
Thank you guys all for coming. Very cool, was planning all this out. I'm excited to finally get into the season.
Yeah. We'll see you, I guess, the first battle nights. And yeah, we're starting this thing.
Yeah.
Good
Prepare
job.
to be destroyed.
Good job, everybody. So I'll put on the starting soon screen. I'll mute Nick as we play those funky tunes. Good night,
Never
everybody.
silence me.
And then he was silenced. That's the joke. I silenced him as soon as he said that. Goodbye, everybody.